Hello, hello, hello. Good morning. Good morning, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to, my goodness, my hair. Welcome to this week's Dushan Method Live. This is where I attempt to demystify the mind body connection for you to achieve optimal health, and so that you might integrate, use these tools in your own life. Every week, you are invited into this sacred circle of connection, of creation. And what we do here is we acknowledge, we engage, and we support one another to share about topics all around mind body alignment. That is my focus. Today, we are going to explore and dig into one of my very, very important subjects in my life, because this is what I do. I'm a structural integration practitioner. So, we're going to talk about structural integration, why and how it is transforming the wellness industry, why you need to know about it. And also, most importantly, we're going to dig into the most important part of structural integration, aside from alignment. That is the result, that's what we get from it. However, we're going to explore the topic of fascia, connective tissue. Now, you've heard about fascia. You've either heard about it in your yoga class, or it's more mainstream. It's more of a buzzword now. It's becoming a little bit more known. And so, what we're going to do is we're going to dive into fascia, what it is, how it can help you, how you can take care of it, take better care of yourself and your fascia, and why that is so important for your health, in particular, your immune system. And as we all know right now, our immune systems are a little bit overworked, aren't they? Since COVID, I would say even before COVID, but certainly COVID has created a lot of stress on the planet globally. Things have had to be rearranged, realigned. And even though we are post COVID now, the ramifications of COVID are still in our bodies. See, that's the thing with this work. Structural integration, the work that I do, I see clients every week in my office in New York City. And what it does is that it actually helps you to reconnect, to reboot your nervous and immune system. And I'm going to discuss with you today how I do that and why you might want to explore it if you are feeling a little bit off in your life. Or sometimes, what I also love is that when clients come and see me when they're at their optimum, they're feeling great, and getting a structural integration session, going into mind body alignment, really helps to boost us to the next level. So it's very helpful, of course, if you need support, if you need help, for example, pre and post surgery. We want to address your body pre and post surgery. This is the main component. And I would say the thing that I find the most unfortunate, that hospitals don't offer this practice for patients, because if you organize yourself pre-surgery and after you come out of surgery, shortly thereafter, you have to understand that your entire body is in relationship to that particular surgery, no matter what it is. And a cesarean section is definitely an invasive surgery. Hip replacement, shoulder replacements, anything that has to do with getting your teeth fixed. A lot of people don't think about this, but this is a major thing. When we get our teeth pulled, our wisdom teeth pulled, or we get a crown, or we get any type of work done in the mouth, that affects the structural alignment of your cranium. That affects the structural alignment of your facial bones. So a lot of the time, we don't think about these things, but they are actually really, really important. If you are getting a surgery for in the hands or in your elbow, anywhere in your arms, that is going to affect the alignment of your chest, of your rib cage. And structural integration is all about identifying and helping to align the entire body so that it can move optimally into health and into functionality as it is integrated from that particular surgery or break. Good morning. Hi, Chelsea. Chelsea is here this morning. If anyone else is here, I know that there are other people here. If you want to say hi, good morning, it always gives me great pleasure to know that you're here. We have a very regular student who joins us every week. Her name is Elise, and Elise this morning is in Vermont with her daughter who just had a surgery in her knee. And so she is not with us this morning, but she did want to extend her love and to extend her hellos to everyone. So if you know Elise, if you've been here with me every week or frequently, you will have seen Elise on this with us. And so she just wants to say good morning to everyone. Hey, good morning. Hello. Savi is here from Montreuil, France. We have Chelsea here from Montreal, Quebec. Who else is here this morning? Please say hello and join us. All right. So without further ado, I really want to dig into, thank you, Sabi, special thought. Appreciate that. I will let her know. She texted hospital in Vermont. Post-surgery, right? I was just talking about post-surgery. So why am I talking about how structural integration is transforming the wellness industry? Well, for one thing, structural integration is not well known enough. We are really, there are more practitioners. I am part of the teaching team for the Hellerwork Structural Integration Foundation and organization. So we are building, creating, teaching more practitioners to come into the world. And still, it is a very kind of best kept secret. And I want to blow the cover on the best kept secret. Okay. I want everyone to know about this amazing work because it is amazing to help you restore your fascial system, your connective tissue system in the body, which I consider to be the most important organ of communication throughout your body. So let's get started with structural integration. And some of you here today have gone through the series with me. So usually, how is it delivered? It is a series of 10 to 12 sessions that are systematically developed to address every single part of your body. And I need to also say that structural integration, any type of structural integration that you might read about, or even some practitioners call themselves myofascial release experts, anything that has to do with myofascial, any fascial release of any sort, most of it, I would say, a very, very high percentage of it comes from this groundbreaking work that Dr. Ida Rolf created in the 1950s. So if you hear about it and you want to know what it is, it's all derived from the genius of Dr. Ida Rolf. Also branded her name. She didn't brand it, but the institution of Rolfing did. And so call it Rolfing. If you've ever heard about Rolfing, it can be known to be a very painful experience. It's body alignment, but it tends to be known as a painful experience. That's changing too, because the truth is, for the most part, it has evolved. So it's no longer as painful as it once was. But it's a very systematic approach to realigning your entire physical form. So what I was sharing with you last week in my newsletter is that structural integration is a holistic approach to mind-body healing, and it focuses specifically on the connection between the body's structure and function. So when you deal with this layer of connective tissue, these several layers of connective tissue in the body, it actually assists in hydration. It hydrates your connective tissue system, which then helps you inform and functionality of your body. So you move with more ease. If you've ever experienced it, some of you on this live today have with me, you know that it works to improve posture in your body, balance, and movement patterns. And it does that by realigning the entire fascial structure of your body. And what is fascia? Very simply, fascia is a complex web of connective tissue that surround and go through and support your muscles, your bones, and your organs. Sabi says, I personally had 3 sessions of Heller work with you, and it left a deep positive memory within me and my body. Thank you again, Anne-Marie, for the first time I felt that my whole was taken into account. My whole, WHOLE. Thank you so much, Sabi, for this wonderful testimonial. I really appreciate it. Yes, so there's it's a holistic approach to realigning your entire physical structure. I call connective tissue and fascia the most reliable organ of communication in your body. And why do I call it your most reliable organ of communication in your body? Is because through the hydration process, through structural integration, how I release and then we open up and then you feel more breath, you feel more aliveness through the hydration of your connective tissue, that communicates through your entire system. So even if I only work on your back line, your entire body is also recognized, it's acknowledged, it's engaged, and it's supported in the process of structural integration and alignment. So it is the most reliable organ of communication in the body. It communicates through your blood, your nervous system, through the synovial fluid of your body, through your lymphatic system. It's a very reliable source of communication that lets your body know if everything is in sync, is balanced. It communicates all pain, imbalance, insecurities. We'll talk about that more. And the feeling of being off or the feeling of something not being quite right in your body. And that communicates it to your brain. So whenever you're feeling a little bit off in your body, just know that your connective tissue, the fascia of your body, is the main highway to communicate information throughout your entire body. Now, what happens if your connective tissue or your fascia becomes restricted, tweaked, constricted? If you are worried a lot of the time, if you're anxious a lot of the time, if you suffer from depression a lot of the time, if you are someone who has any type of addictive behaviors, what can happen is that this great organ of communication dries up. Because whenever we are in a state of worry or fear or angst or reliving trauma through our lives, parts of our bodies get restricted around the heart, around your chest, around your lungs. You may have had that experience in your life. And what happens when things get restricted and stuck? There's a lack of communication. There's a lack of hydration through your body. And so naturally, if there's no movement, if there's no hydration process going throughout your body, well, it's going to tend to make you feel worse. If you're depressed, you might feel a little bit more depressed. If you're anxious, it will tend to heighten your level of anxiety because those parts in your body get stuck. There's no movement, which is why I am always talking about movement. Getting up first thing in the morning, going into the light of day, taking walks, of course, physically working out as well, whatever that means and looks like to you. But movement is the sacred secret to life. Movement is the sacred secret to life. When we are not moving, we are stuck. And you have experienced this. Most of us have experienced this in our lives. Okay, so one of the key benefits of structural integration is its holistic approach to healing. And just like Sabi shared with us, it's a whole body perspective of healing. So I'm not just working with your physical body, I am working with your emotional body, with your mental body, with your belief system. Because remember that fascia is your most reliable organ of communication in your body. And so therefore, if it is moving through the entire body, it is going to affect, influence how you feel in your life. Are you tracking? How are we doing? I'm going to take a pause here and just see. Does anybody have any questions or insights or comments about what I'm sharing right now? Especially for those of you, or maybe for those of you who have no experience with fascia or structural integration, or maybe some of you do have experience with it. So feel free to share with me any insights. And also, if you're tracking with me this morning, if I'm on point, if you're following. If you're not following, please use this opportunity to ask questions and I will respond to it live. All right, so until anybody responds, if you have any questions, let's keep going. So, structural integration works to address the underlying causes of pain and dysfunction. Those pains and dysfunctions that lead to long-term imbalances in your body. So we address these underlying causes, and we do this through looking at your physical structure, but also by checking in with what's going on in your mind, what's going on in your heart, how are you feeling? So a lot of the time, certainly in the United States, when we go for a doctor's appointment, because they are so restricted on time, there's not a lot of space for the medical professional to really ask you how you are doing on all levels of your person. Usually they'll deal with the immediate pain that showed up or why you might be there. Your shoulder, you need a shoulder surgery, or you have a migraine, or you have some sort of pain, to which they tend to respond with a pharmaceutical suggestions, so taking drugs that can help for a while. But usually you're not going to get a whole lot of conversation from medical professionals because they simply don't have the time. Holistic approaches to healing. Holistic approaches to healing is the other side of that coin, is where we take a significant amount of time to ask questions, to see where you are in your life. What might be your biggest concern? Where do you feel unfulfilled in your life? Because all of these have something to do with how you are carrying your body. It has something to do with your capacity to communicate healthily, mindfully with others. It has something to do with whether you are feeling embodied, if you are able to be in intimate relationships. It has something to do with your sexual functions and your capacity for desire. Holistic approaches touch on all of these very important factors of being human. So, structural integration is a highly individualized system of mind body alignment that is tailored specifically to your needs. Even though there's a methodology to it, when you come in and see me as a client, we do a complete and thorough review of where you are in your life at this moment. And that's important because it's going to influence how we work together. The other great thing about the work that I'm doing as a structural integration practitioner is that I get to be in partnership with you. I get to work with you. I don't tell you what's wrong with you. That's not the approach in holistic medicine. We are together, we discuss, we look over some areas, and I invite you into a very healthy therapeutic dialogue where I reflect back to you what you share with me A very useful technique. So you get to hear what you're saying. And when we get our language or beliefs reflected back to us, it gives us an opportunity to actually be in touch with how we're really feeling. Because sometimes when it's just from our perspective, there are limits. We can only see what we can see through our eyes, right? So, in order for us to grow as a holistic system of health, we want to be able to have ideas, what we say, our language reflected back to us. This can be super helpful as a mindful communication tool because then you get to actually hear what you're saying out loud. Chelsea says, I certainly agree that movement is the secret to life. I think of the adage, if you don't use it, you lose it. That's right. That is often heard and said in healthcare. That is correct. Thank you, Chelsea, for that insight. You're absolutely right. So the other thing that we say in structural integration is your issues are in your tissues. So your issues are in your connective tissue, this very reliable and important organ of communication that moves throughout your entire body. Your issues are in your tissues. So by releasing, hydrating your fascia and connective tissue, you actually get to resolve your issues, mental issues, emotional issues, spiritual issues, right? We are complex beings. Now, fascia. Let's talk about it for a little bit. What is it? Well, I've already told you that it's tissue that surrounds and supports muscles, bones, organs, and all of the structures in your body. So, for example, if I were to unzip this, if this were my skin and I unzipped my skin off of my body, I would still be standing in integrity, even without my skin, because connective tissue underneath my skin and in relationship with my skin is what holds my form together. So my skin is not what's holding me together. My connective tissue is what's holding me together so that I have integrity in my form. What is it composed of? Fascia is composed of collagen, elastin, and other proteins, and it forms a continuous network throughout your entire body. So think of a stocking that would be underneath your skin. You know how, for women and maybe men too, right? You wear stockings. If you've ever worn your lycra pants to go to the gym, but a stocking, right? Something that would cover your entire body, that is the network of tissues that holds you together in integrity. Fascia plays a key role in the body's mechanical and biomechanical properties. And let me unpack that for you a little bit. So, your mechanical properties in the body, they refer to the physical characteristics of a material or tissue that affects its response to external forces or loads. Let me repeat that. Mechanical properties refer to the physical characteristics of a material or tissue that affects its response to external forces or loads. In the context of the human body, mechanical properties describe how various tissues and structures respond to forces generated by movement or external loads. For example, bones have high stiffness and are able to support compressive forces, right? So if somebody pushes down my shoulders, my structural skeletal structure will be able to respond to those forces. Muscles are able to generate tension and produce movement. That is the mechanical property of the human body. What are the biomechanical properties of the human body? Well, biomechanical properties is the study of the mechanics of living organisms, including the analysis of movement, forces, and energy expenditure. It involves the application of mechanical principles to biological systems and seeks to understand how the body functions and moves as a result of internal and external forces. Biomechanics incorporates a wide range of topics, from the analysis of individual joints and muscle movement to the study of whole body movements and the optimization of athletic performance. So biomechanics is the functionality, is the movement, right, that runs, that courses through your body. The mechanical properties are more the characteristics of the material or tissue that is within the human body. So that's really important to understand from a structural integration perspective. Why? Because if you ever work with me and if you ever come to my office for a structural integration session, what you're going to find is that partnership between you and I is very much alive as I apply my hands and very specific manual techniques while you do some small movements. Because when you are moving and I am aligning, we're working together, we are hydrating, we are also encouraging both the mechanical structure, function, and biomechanics of your body by you moving. And together that helps to create a synchronistic alignment in the body. So you see how it's a very different approach than having something done to you. It is something that is done in relationship with one another, which ultimately is really the vision of this work. And a little side note here. I'm also a manual osteopath, so I've done studies in osteopathy for many years. And osteopathy is a really fascinating area of study because it really talks about how the human systems work in relationship to one another. And that's a really beautiful way to look at this work. It's not one piece of you that is being acknowledged. It is the whole of you that is being acknowledged. And when we approach the physical body as a whole approach, it tends to make it feel safer. It makes it feel connected. That happens on an energetic level. You can't quite explain. A lot of the time people will get off my table and they can't really explain what happened to them because it's an energetic realignment in addition to being physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. So you see, these approaches to holistic healing are really what is transforming the wellness and healthcare industry. We are calling for more of this. We need more of this. We want to have more of these whole body approaches because it makes us feel safer and also it makes us feel acknowledged. That is why I chose acknowledgement as the first step of my proprietary system. Everything in our bodies and in our lives gets awakened through acknowledgement. And you know this is true because you yourself have experienced it whenever you have been acknowledged by a friend, a teacher, a lover, a mentor. Acknowledgement to the body in the form that I do it through my hands-on work really assists to hydrate the entire energetic field of your body. Isn't that amazing? I've been doing this since 2007. And I can tell you that of all the therapies I've ever tried and done, and there are many excellent therapies out there, this is not the only one. Although I have found that this one is the most complete in terms of honoring mind, body, spirit, and emotional alignment. Okay. Any comments or questions or insights? Let me take a look here. What's going on? Okay. So moving right along, my friends. So I talked to you about connective tissue, about fascia and its importance, right? And it's a mixture of collagen, elastin, and other proteins in the body. Fascia is really helpful and important because it transmits forces and tensions generated by muscle contractions. It absorbs shock and protects our structures. It provides support and stability to the body. Fascia is involved in regulating movement, sensory perception, and the immune system, as I mentioned before. So it plays a huge role in keeping you healthy. Now, conversely, how do we keep our fascia healthy? Well, we do it through hydration. Chelsea says, wow, how incredible. Yes, I think so too. It's very incredible. Our systems are absolutely laboratories of intelligence. And if we start to regulate our bodies through speaking with our bodies, speaking with ourselves through the intelligent landscape, to see the landscape, the biointelligence of the human body in relationship to nature, that means trees, outdoors. It also means how we communicate with other human beings because we are part of nature. So, yeah, thank you, Chelsea. It is pretty incredible. So, now, what does fascia, how do we take care of fascia? Well, we hydrate. We have to hydrate our fascia, right? Fascia requires adequate hydration in order to keep it healthy. So, how do we do that? Well, how do you hydrate your fascia? You know, we're going to talk about this over and over and over again. And I want to share with you that the simplest forms of healthcare, the simplest forms of coming back to our bodies, developing our sensory perceptions. What does that mean? It means to listen to how we are feeling. Listen to how you wake up in the morning. Listen to what your body is asking for. It's an incredible tool that we develop through mindfulness, through meditation, through prayer, through contemplation, through taking walks in nature. And I'm going to be talking about this over and over again because we must come back to the basics in order to heal ourselves. There's just too much pulling us out in every other direction. And what I'm finding every single day, and I've found this since I've been a practitioner and a coach for many, many years, is that ultimately all human beings want to be acknowledged, they want to be engaged, and they want to be supported. Acknowledgement, engagement, and support. I think that it's one of the keys to ultimate health and happiness. So how do we hydrate our fascia? Let me just check here if there are any. I breathe into it, doing small movements and put some warmth, wanting to release, having the consciousness of fascias. Is there something else to do? Oh, yes. Thank you, Savi. These are great questions. I'm sorry, I skipped one. I've got a practical question. This morning, I woke up with a sharp pain in the shoulder blade. I slept by accident on a tough hot water bottle. Ooh, yeah, I could see how that would hurt. I breathe into it, doing small movements and put some warmth, wanting to release, having the consciousness of fascia. Is there something else to do? Yes. Drinking water, of course, and especially this sounds like it's not just your fascial system, but you're actually in the shoulder blade, you have that bone there, but also a lot of muscle, right? That's a very highly muscle structured area in the body. So if you have pain in your shoulder blade because you slept on a hot water bottle, that's going to create some pain and constriction also in your muscle and connective tissue. Apply some Tiger Balm, have someone rub. So again, touch. Touch is the key to healing. Touch from a practitioner, maybe your sister, one of your parents, someone who you trust, a friend, can apply some Tiger Balm, but not just to that scapular area, to the entire upper body and perhaps even the lower body. Get some touch with Tiger Balm or something that feels good to warm the muscles and the tissue up, because when you warm it up, it activates actual hydration in the body. If you put cold on it, which I do not recommend at all, it will stop the flow of hydration. And it's sometimes useful to use ice, but not in this case. In this case, use a hand, somebody's hand who can really apply something, some Tiger Balm, which is what I always go to, but anything that will help to heat up that area to generate more blood flow. You're welcome, love. Okay, other ways to hydrate your fascia. Of course, drink plenty of water. We tend to not drink enough water. And recently, I want to share with you that I have gotten into these new electrolytes, this electrolyte product called LMNT. It's advertised all over Instagram and Facebook. It's literally spelled LMNT, the letters, four letters. And I have been loving it. It has really helped to hydrate my whole system. And it also feels like I get extra energy when I drink it. And I drink it at least once a day in my water bottle. I have a 16-ounce water bottle that I drink every day, maybe 2 or 3 of those bottles per day. That's how much I drink. And I put some LMNT in there. It's a powder base with full of really helpful electrolytes. And I encourage you to go to their website, check them out, and see if it's something that might appeal to you. They did a complete scientific background on why this particular combination of electrolytes is particularly helpful. And I have to say that I completely agree. It has really helped me with my workout practice, keeping me feeling very enlivened and very energetic. So, of course, drink water. Number 2, eat hydrating foods. Eat hydrating foods. So what are hydrating foods? Foods that are high in water content. For example, fruits, vegetables, broths, soups, smoothies, anything that will be able to add nutrition, healthy, clean nutrition, nothing artificial. No processed food whatsoever. No sauces, no ketchups and mayonnaise and all kinds of these processed sauces. Get rid of all of that. Those are essentially terrible for the body for many more reasons. But in today's conversation, we're talking about fascia. I would strongly recommend getting rid of all of those. If you need to add a little sauce or, salad dressing, make it on your own. Make some really delicious, excuse me, salad dressing using the best olive oil you can find. You can also sprinkle a little bit of avocado oil, some sesame seeds. Let's see, you can also steam your vegetables so that they're a little bit crunchy. Those are all hydrating foods, right? Especially greens, broccoli, kale, string beans, peas. All of those are really super healthy to hydrate your connective tissue. And as I just suggested to Sabi, to practice some self massage, right? Or someone ideally will give you some structural integration sessions. Really amazing. So you'll hear a lot of the term myofascial release. Myofascial release is a little bit different than hands-on, which I strongly, strongly recommend, because touch itself is a healing component that hydrates your connective tissue immediately. And I'm talking about a gentle, loving touch, not a harsh touch, not a deep trying to break down tissue touch. There are times when those might be appropriate. Overall, this very deep kind of crushing the muscle and connective tissue approach, I have found to not be helpful over time. It actually does not help to heal the actual area, but instead causes further injury to your connective tissue. So this is why structural integration is such an amazing technique that really addresses every part of your body in a very systematic and intelligent approach, where you feel cared for, nurtured, and really that there are lots of transformations that occur within only one session because of the specificity of the work. So, for example, if you did want to do some release on your own, what we might call myofascial release, what can be helpful is to use a foam roller. I talked about that last week or the week before. Start using a foam roller to release in the legs, in the sideline of your body, on your shoulders. I gave you some resources last week. I've put them on our Facebook page at the Duchenne Method Facebook group page. So if you haven't looked into those, go back and review what I shared with you so that you might start to do some very intelligent foam rolling. Also, you could use balls and apply them on your back between your spine and your scapula. You don't want to go directly on the bone. You want to go on the line, the sidelines of your body, of your back, between your spine and your scapulas, and then all the way down to your piriformis. So basically on your butt, and help to hydrate your connective tissue through rolling on these really nice balls. Make sure that you use preferably a tennis ball and not a handball, nothing that's going to crush any of your tissue. We don't want to go for the crushing effect. We want to go with a hydrating effect, which means that you have to breathe and release and lay for a little bit longer. You don't want to push into it. This whole approach to pushing is not always inappropriate. However, I find that it is completely overused. When we try to align the body and to get healthy and to hydrate and to go into more of the biomechanics of the human form, it's better to be a little bit more gentle and to actually breathe through every exercise that you do instead of getting crushed. It's a more sophisticated approach to getting embodied. What does that mean? It means that you get into more of a relationship with your body when you address it with more gentleness and presence and breath. Because we're used to going hard, we're used to digging. And I want to suggest that there might be some more sophisticated ways to get to our nooks and crannies where we feel we want to get release. Okay, two more. How to hydrate your fascia? Well, of course, staying active, physical activity. I talk about this probably every week. If you are not getting into a regular practice of physical activity, whether it's walking outside, a slight jog, doing some yoga, doing some qigong, going to the gym, swimming, skipping rope, riding your bike, stay active. The only way that you will be able to maintain health throughout your life, if you're in your 30s or 40s or even 50s, you are rather young still. A lot of people at 50 start to feel old. Well, mostly it's because they haven't been conscious, they haven't contributed to this philosophy of movement throughout their life. It is so important. So when you foam roll or you roll on your balls, that's movement. That's hydrating your connective tissue. The factor here is that you must integrate time in your life to do these things, because over time, if you do not address your body, if you are not in contact with your body, if you do not listen to your body or hydrate yourself appropriately, you will end up with pain in your 50s or maybe before. That's just what I've seen for 30 years in this industry. If we don't, and I'm older now, I'm 30 years older now. And I don't feel 30 years older, of course, because I practice this all the time. In addition to being a practitioner, I have a very rigorous and consistent practice of personal healing, so that I do this on a daily basis, which helps me to maintain a healthy lifestyle. And as I'm getting older, I am really grateful for this because I can see the results, that I am actually feeling rather good most of the time. That's really amazing. I have never taken medication. I have never really gone to the hospital, maybe once or twice in my entire lifetime. I've never taken medication. So that also is due to my mother, who brought me homeopathically. So thank you, Mom, right? We all come from different backgrounds. But I really do want to encourage you to move more. You're going to feel better. And that is a major component of hydrating your connective tissue. Okay, finally, very, very importantly, we've talked about this, and I actually posted about this today on our Duchenne Method Facebook group page. Get enough rest. The rest period in your life, which is correlated to sleep or taking some rest days, taking some times away to be in the sun or to go into nature to rest, is so crucially important for your overall health, mind, body, spirit, and emotional health. We must be able to rest and to allow for our bodies during this time of rest to rejuvenate itself, to enervate itself. And when you rest appropriately, that is actually a hydration mechanism for your connective tissue, for your whole body. Rest encourages a very beautiful and sophisticated language of communication throughout your whole body. We must be able to rest in peace. And if you're having trouble resting, well, I can share with you that what I posted today on our Duchenne Method Facebook group page, a client of mine who is also a friend gave me a suggestion and said, Anne-Marie, you should start. Have you ever tried tart cherry juice? And I was like, actually, I had heard about it, I think, a long time ago, but I had never actually tried it. And so I ordered some cherry juice, and specifically this one was for sleep, or that's what was written on the bottle. So I just said, okay, let me try that. Can I tell you that it was incredibly powerful? The first night I used it, I couldn't get up the next morning. I had an 8-ounce bottle of cherry juice about 30 minutes prior to going to bed. And it was so effective that it knocked me out. And part of it is because it has melatonin in it, and it activates the natural melatonin production within my body. The distinction with using cherry juice, however, was that I did not wake up feeling groggy. I woke up feeling really healthy, alive, and well. I wasn't groggy. Except for the first day that I used it, I was knocked out. So I couldn't get up. Like, it took me a little while to get up, not because I was groggy, but because I was in such a deep sleep. So if you're having trouble sleeping, I really encourage you to check out tart cherry juice and see if that helps you. And I would suggest using maybe half of I used an 8-ounce. I would go for a 4-ounce. Just go slowly and check it out so that your body gets a chance to rest and recover, rejuvenate. All right, my friends. Chelsea asks, what do you think of taking collagen, especially as a woman having menopausal symptoms? 100%, my dear, 100%. Yes, very helpful to ingest collagen, to also use topical collagenous creams. You have to do your research in terms of the best ones on the market. Anything that is highly recommended from really great natural brands, natural companies. I wouldn't necessarily buy it on Amazon, although maybe sometimes they might have some good stuff on Amazon. But to do your research appropriately, I fully 100% encourage you and support you. Yes, ingesting collagen, especially during your menopausal years, helps significantly with hydration as well. Thank you for the question, Chelsea. Wonderful. All right, my friends. So I hope that today was helpful. Obviously, this is a topic that is very close, dear, and near to my heart. I'm going to be speaking about it more in snippets and clips. You're going to see me more on Instagram, on Facebook. I'm actually going to start showing up on TikTok. I was informed by my social media team. So I'm really spreading my message and word out. If you know anyone who might benefit from joining us on these talks every Monday, please invite them in. Please invite them to join the Duchenne Method Facebook group page so that they might join this community of seekers for greater health, to connect with their mind, body, spirit, and emotional selves, and to learn more and more about this work. I really want to make this a much wider conversation. I want to bring this to the world on many levels, and you assisting me in doing so is deeply and greatly appreciated because I cannot do it on my own. You can also book a 30-minute complimentary session with me if you have not done so, and you have any mind-body alignment questions, and you want to know more about structural integration, especially if you're in New York and you would like to come experience a mind-body alignment session with me, I strongly encourage you to make an appointment. 30-minute consultation. You can find all the links on my website, artofalignmentacademy.com. You can find it in my newsletter. You can probably find it on the Facebook group page. I'm very easy to find. And finally, please, if you have not done so, subscribe to my YouTube channel, Art of Alignment Academy. Invite your friends to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Art of Alignment Academy. The more subscriptions I get, the more likes I get, the more the algorithm kicks in and helps me to distribute this very important information, just like a network of connective tissue around cyberspace. So I really appreciate your support and your help. I hope that this was helpful. If you have any questions, please reach out. You can ask a question on the Facebook group page. You can send me an email at info@artofalignmentacademy.com. And please stay tuned. Next week, I think very soon you're going to be seeing, I am launching my mind-body alignment program. It begins in September. I have delayed it. I was going to start it in June, but I decided to start in September. My amazing coaches are joining me on in this program, and there are a few surprises along the way. So keep your eyes peeled, stay connected. I wish you a wonderful, wonderful week. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Kisses to everyone. I will see you next week. Bye for now.